good week. It's been a crazy week. Book launch week is always pretty insane. But it's good to be live, and it's good to be on Amazon Live and on different platforms across the internet. And one of the interesting things about doing Amazon Live is typically you're promoting other people's products, and that's fine. Whatever sells, whatever gets a commission, whatever brings people together to watch a live stream and communicate and share thoughts in the chat and all that, it's great. But this is kind of special to have your own product to talk about on Amazon Live. I don't think I did much on Amazon Live when my other books came out, but this is the third one, the third volume of 100 predictions, 100 live streaming and digital media predictions, volume 3. And I got a package today from Amazon, and I have opened the package just to make it easy, but I haven't taken the book out yet. So there's always that great first moment when you open the book and you see what it looks like, and just kind of get a feel for what the cover's like, and you know what the inside is like. How did they do printing it? This one came from Amazon KDP, and so they're the ones who are responsible. I used to have a subscription to Epidemic Sound, and I didn't really use it too much. I used it for Monetize Live Streaming Now Summit. I picked one song that was kind of like a theme music bed that led into the different sessions and out of the different sessions. And then I hadn't used it for a while. And then I came back before I canceled and picked out some gems, and if I gotta say so myself, some of this is pretty darn good. I'm gonna have to reconsider that subscription. This is the first time really I've used my own music while live. I not my music, but music that I've brought. I've used the music that StreamYard provides, and I've added music for podcasts and uploads, but pretty cool. Anyway, let's see what we got here. So this is the cover, the glossy cover. And this is, hold it still, Ross, and point it at the camera, not the screen. That's a little fuzzy. And here's the back of the back cover. I really love these cover designs. This is Danielle Camerlinga is responsible for doing these covers, and she does great work. They say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I mean, the cover certainly draws attention to it. This is the second book, and this is the first book. So let me see if I can hold all three. Probably not, or maybe I can. Anyway, great work by Danielle Camerlinga. Since we're on Amazon Live, I should highlight this in the carousel and tell you that the book is available on Amazon Live. It's available in Ebook. Really good deal on the Ebook right now. And it's available in Paperback. So that's the cover. The quote at the top is from Dale Roberts. He says, Ross Brand is the GOAT of live streaming. Dale L. Roberts, author and YouTuber. Self-publishing with Dale. Great writer, great really the brains behind my ability to learn and achieve on Amazon. I've watched tons of Dale's videos, I've read his books, and he's also a good friend. And through the first book in particular, but also answering questions with the second book, and even me bothering him with this book, he's just so on top of everything when it comes to self-publishing, and so that's really cool of Dale to provide that quote. It actually comes from a podcast review that he did. So it's 100 live streaming and digital media predictions. It's top content creators help you succeed online in an era of rapid change. What's interesting is when I did the first book, and I wrote the title, typed the title in, I left out the online on Amazon. So anytime I write the subtitle for the book, whether I'm putting it on Amazon, whether I'm assigning an ISBN to it, whether I'm distributing it through other sources, I always leave the online off so that it's consistent on all platforms. And frankly, the online's kind of redundant when you're talking about live streaming and digital media. But that said, that's a little known fact. Let's see what else we got here on the music front. This is nice. Okay, so the foreword to the book. The foreword to the first book was written by Jennie Q, my first guest on my first live stream show, and she wrote a beautiful foreword to the first book. The second foreword was to the second book. That's where you put the second foreword. Was written, of course, by Dale L. Roberts. We talked about him, like 30-time award-winning author, and a big part of this. And then for book number 3, we have the Dealcasters, Chris Stone and Jim Fuhs. And I really love what those guys have done. I really, really admire how they brought the talk show format over to Amazon Live when everybody else was just, here's a product and I'm going to pitch it. Here's another product, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I love doing that, and a lot of my streams are talking about the products that I like. And if I don't fall asleep here, because it's awfully late on the East Coast, I will probably go through some books of people in the predictions who are contributors, who I have either a hardcover book or I have it front and center in my Kindle. So, we talk about the power of live streaming. And how else would this come about but during a live stream that Jim Fuhs and I were both watching? I had mentioned something in the chat. We were chatting back and forth, and I had mentioned something about getting on Amazon Live, and I'm doing some live streams. This was early on with Amazon Live. And Jim asked me, how can I do that? And I said, well, in fact, I put together this video that explains how you apply for the Amazon Influencer Program, which then gives you the ability to apply for Amazon Live. And he went ahead and did it. And he came together with Chris Stone. They started doing Dealcasters Live. And man, both of their influence, their visibility, their recognition by people as experts in live selling and hosting shows on selling platforms just went through the roof. I'm just so proud of what they've done and how they've done it and how generous they've been. Not only giving me credit, basically for pointing out a video that might help, but how they've really been open to the community in showing people. Let's change it up. This is the music bed I used for monetize live streaming now. So getting back, Chris Stone, Jim Fuhs, Dealcasters. They wrote the foreword to the book. And what really just impresses me about them, and it was evident last year at Podfest, which is coming up next week, and I'm actually going to be on a panel with both of those guys and Jeff C. But what really impressed me was how those guys were able to put together a full-day event of content on nothing but Amazon Live. I mean, it was more than Amazon Live, but the fact is they had so much information to share and so many great panels and speakers. They really brought out some of the real A-listers of Amazon Live. I got to meet some of the people who, you know, are just killing it on Amazon Live and learn from them. It was a wonderful, wonderful event. And so, I think it's their year. I mean, I couldn't think of anybody else who'd be more perfect than those guys for this year to write the foreword, and they did a great job. They did a great job. The back cover, let me see, that's pretty much the front cover, right? So the back cover says, the guide for live streamers, podcasters, YouTubers, course creators, and entrepreneurs. Leverage 100 new predictions from cutting-edge creators. Implement proven strategies from industry insiders. Discover essential resources for monetization. Featuring Emmy winners, Hall of Fame podcasters, and YouTube stars. And then I have some reviews of the prior book. That's what I've been doing. I could get early readers and solicit reviews from people, but somehow I like just putting the reviews from the prior book that people spontaneously put on Amazon or elsewhere. So I have, it says here, in this red section on the back in the middle here, it says reviews for the #1 Amazon bestseller, 100 live streaming and digital media predictions, volume 2. Recipient of 7 book awards, including the Goody Business Book Award, the Pinnacle Book Achievement Award, and the Independent Author Network Book of the Year finalist. So the first review that we have on the back cover is from Mark Babbitt, the co-author of Good Comes First. We'll talk about Mark's book a little bit later in the broadcast. It says, insights from feet on the street professionals sure to increase your influence and help your business grow. Very nice. Mark Babbitt, as I said, co-author of Good Comes First. And his co-author, S. Chris Edmonds. I had the pleasure of hosting the launch party for their book launch of Good Comes First. And it's great getting to know Chris through that. I've known Mark, I think, was the first person from the online world that I connected with in person. He reached out to me when he was in New York and set up a meeting. We got together, and we've been friends ever since. So his collaboration with Chris Edmonds, now Chris is now a second year in a row part of the predictions, and he wrote in his review, how does a business owner stay on top of the most effective approaches and best platforms? By reading 100 predictions. And he's the co-author of Good Comes First. Mitch Jackson. Most people who in live streaming know Mitch Jackson. He's an attorney. California Trial Lawyer of the Year, I believe 2013. He was an Orange County Attorney of the Year in 2009. An author of a great new book on Web3, the Metaverse, and AI. And he said Ross Brand and his contributing experts knocked this one out of the park. So thank you for that, Mitch. David Simon, who I've never met, has never been in the book, but is in the industry. He runs Cloud Video Network, and he was nice enough to leave a review. Again, these were all left on Amazon or other review platforms. He said, a great read that should be considered one of the Bibles of the live streaming world. So thank you, David, for that. And the last one comes from Jennie Mustafa-Julock, better known as Coach Jennie. And she's been a part of the predictions every year like Mitch. Only 3 people have been part of these predictions, starting in the predictions for 2016 and going all 8 years through 2023. The beginning was as a blog. Last 3 years have been as a book. And Coach Jennie says, a fun, super quick, easy to read, and actionable collection of predictions from live streamers and digital media geniuses. So, Coach Jennie has a book. We'll talk about that also when I go over some books from people who are in the predictions. So, and then there's a bio of me and a photo of me on the bottom of the book. So, Danielle Camerlinga, in the extremely unlikely event that you're up late and watching, although you are on the West Coast, so it isn't that late. Thank you. Thank you for these wonderful book covers and all the great work that you do. Let's see what else we got musically. Let's try this one. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to go through the carousel, and so that Amazon knows that I clicked all these. Here is book number 2. And this came out in April of 2022, so it's still very relevant. I got to thank my good friend John Burke from Al Roker Entertainment for a great quote at the top of this. He says, there's no greater evangelist for live streaming than Ross Brand. And as I mentioned, Dale L. Roberts wrote the foreword to this one. And we have review quotes on the back from Jessica Phillips of Now Marketing Group, expert in relationship marketing. Dan Courier, great YouTuber, Creator Fundamentals, and somebody who's doing great on Amazon Live, by the way. I always think of him as a YouTuber, and I'm not sure I mentioned him and tagged him when I listed people who are doing live selling in Amazon. And he's doing a lot of the shoppable videos and really killing it with that. We also have Mitch Jackson had another really nice review, so he's quoted on the back of the second book. Brad Friedman, author of The Small Business Owner's Guide to Inbound Marketing. We'll talk about his books as well. And Nancy Ankowitz, the author of Self-Promotion for Introverts, also had a nice review on the back of that. So this is a good one. So there's a lot of people in here who aren't in either of the other 2 books. I went all the way to 130 contributors in this one, 100 predictions. We call the last 30 ideas and strategies. So this one actually is 103. No special name for 101, 102, and 103. And then book 1. Book 1's a larger volume because it came from It came from a live stream, a 5-hour live stream, in which I made the mistake of transcribing. I mean, I used some AI, but it was a lot of work, a lot of really great stuff, though. It included a lot of the conversations from that live stream that I had with the folks who contributed, as well as those who sent in written predictions. But a lot of the book comes from that. So the first book is 332 pages, but they're short chapters. It's pretty quick and easy to read. Not necessarily a book you have to read from front to back. In the first book, I did a pretty long, not super long, but pretty long intro in which I talk about what's going on with live streaming and how it's impacted life during the pandemic, and some of the trends in tech and different things going on. The second book, I basically had maybe a couple of pages that I wrote for the intro, in which I talked about some of my advice, not really predictions, but what I thought people should do who want to make an impact online. And then I think the reason that the current book, again, I think the reason that this might be my favorite one right now is that while I talked about a lot of the areas that kind of I think are going to be hot in 2023 and gave my reasoning, I think what's really nice about the intro here is I use a ton of quotes from book contributors and even some people who aren't in the book, and really sort of tell the story with kind of my idea at the top, but really their expertise shining through. And so that's my favorite for my contribution, which is the intro or opening chapter in these. So that's another reason why I'm very fond of the current book. Let me take a look at Amazon Live and see if anybody is commenting. It's very hard to follow the chat on mobile on Amazon Live. If anybody's in with the folks on Amazon Live, really should do something. You also can't see it on your phone to know that it's live. Of course, I know that it's live from having it playing in another browser. So, but we do have people who are commenting across the internet that I can see, and so let's take a look at who's here. We have Sue Ann, who I was just getting ready to talk about, in fact. And what do you know? First one here, she says, just happened to be working on my YouTube channel, and look what I find. LOL, Ross looks very nice. Yeah, so Sue Ann was a huge help to me behind the scenes. Huge help. While this is a collaborative project in the sense that the content is created by a variety of people, putting the book together was always pretty much a solo act. Yeah, I might ask for a little advice here or there, but doing the graphics by myself, doing the editing, doing transcribing if there was any, all that stuff on my own. And this year, Sue Ann came on board for Volume 3 as an editor, and it was a blast working with her. She was just great, just a lot of fun, really enthusiastic about the project, really making sure that everything was the best, not afraid to challenge me. She challenged me on the graphics. If you're familiar, let me see if I can show. Okay, So in book 2, this is just one of many. I mean, Sue Ann went over a lot of things. She worked on a lot of things in the book. But, so last year, we had the graphic. There's Jessica Phillips. I'm just picking it and opening it randomly. You can see the way the photo is set up, where I go from top to bottom with the photo. And the text in the graphics are bolded. And I think I have a font in there that doesn't fit with the rest. So thanks to Sue Ann. Katie Brinkley. Thanks to Sue Ann, we kept the picture in a defined... I mean, it was in a defined region before. I don't know how to say it, but we put... I guess the picture didn't take up the whole side from top to bottom. Put it in a frame, maybe you could say, an invisible frame. Maybe Sue Ann, if you're watching, you can describe it better than I can. But it's really nice. We unbolded the text. We matched the text that goes under the person's name with the same font as the main prediction text. And I think the graphics just are much better. So that's just one minor suggestion that Sue Ann made. But, you know, here you can see a couple. There's Dr. Tachi. There's Andrew Can. Dr. Tachi is the host of Mediascope. Andrew Can is a terrific YouTuber. So, but Sue Ann's very meticulous with editing, asking questions. She listens to me too much, but she also picks up on my editing style. Yeah, she says frame. So, I see Jeffrey Fitzgerald here. Yeah, he says, yes, Chris and Jim are all-stars. Good to see you, Jeffrey. Beauty Bubble is here. No project ever reaches success without some input from Beauty Bubble, who, as I mentioned in the acknowledgement, has been supporting this since early on, always lending an ear. Every year I go, nah, I can't do the predictions again. I just don't have time. She's like, you're silly. Do it again. You have to do it again. Anyway, I'm so glad now. 3 books in, and Beauty Bubble's just somebody, like, when you run ideas by her, and I like to think some of my ideas are pretty good out of the box. She always has a way of, like, pinpointing that one thing you could do, or 2 things you could do, to take a good idea and make it really a great thing in its execution, in its reality, and how it comes into being in front of the world. And so I love that. Thank you, Beauty Bubble, for being a big part of this as well. Gord Eisman, nice to see you. Gord's been a part of the predictions for years, and a really, really interesting job by Gord this year, talking about AI. And, you know, it's a big topic. One of the interesting things, and here's the 3 books together. One of the interesting things I was thinking the other day about this is that this year's book, while it's called Livestreaming, right? 100 live streaming and digital media predictions, it's probably the least live streaming, podcasting centric book of the 3 because of everything that's going on right now, all the new things. And AI is one of them. GPT, rather. Big deal. Hotly debated subject. And so a lot of predictions go there. A lot of predictions talk about Web3 technology. Hey, Jenny Gold. Nice to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Let me know what you think of this this music. I've got some different music beds in here. If you like it, I'll stick with it. If you want me to change to something else, we'll go with something else. So that's just one area, AI, of course. What is the impact of AI going to be on writers, broadcasters, everybody's job, really? How is it going to be impacted? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Will it make things better and our work easier? Will it make things worse? Will it make everybody dishonest? There are a lot of great opinions about that in the book that are very interesting. A lot of talk about vertical video. A lot of talk about niche communities. When the algorithms aren't in your favor, when they're not sharing your content with enough of your network, and when the platforms become more entertainment platforms and are looking at how do we get people to make TikTok-style videos rather than how do we get them engaging with their audiences, their fans, their friends, and so forth, then people start looking elsewhere. Where can I take my community? How can I better communicate with them? How can I provide premium access, premium content, perhaps, for the most engaged people? And you're seeing that with people forming communities on platforms like Locals or Circle or Bali. And then you're seeing people dig into things like email marketing and newsletters again. So that's another part of the book. A lot of predictions go into that. I think... Oh, let me take a look. Live shopping. How the heck could I forget? On Amazon Live here tonight and across the internet. I see people watching on Facebook and YouTube as well. We're also on Twitter and LinkedIn. And I think, of course, since we are here, live shopping is huge. I mean, we've been talking about this for years. We started... Well, the first live stream deals show was in the middle of 2017. Amazon Live didn't come along until 2020. So it's getting really interesting now as people are noticing, getting involved, and, trying to figure out how they can make live shopping work for them. And I think more platforms, of course, are inching that way. There's some platforms on the social side that are starting to integrate features. I think there's a ways to go yet to where you can really do those in-stream purchases without, just by touching the glass on your screen while you're watching. That's where it really happens. But people are doing interesting things with QR codes, and how do you make it easiest for people to go ahead and make the purchase or follow through without having to leave the live stream, or at least without having to remember URLs and, do a whole dance. So, no response on the music. Don't know whether you like it, don't like it. I'm going to go back to this one that I started with. This is really... I like this track. So, I want to talk about some other people's books, because so many of the contributors to 100 Predictions are authors, and I can't get to all their stuff, obviously, but want to get to everybody. But I do want to talk about some of the books that people who are featured in the predictions have published. And we'll start with one of the first people, someone I knew before live streaming, the great Coach Jennie actually used live streaming to write this book, to source ideas, to coach people, and to pull the whole thing together, and then to promote it on the other side. Her book's called Hilda, which is the name she gives your inner critic. It says, tackle your inner naysayer, get out of your own way, and unleash your badassery. And beautiful branding and graphics that go with it, illustrations. It's, let me see, it's a little over 200 pages, but it's great. I mean, for anybody who has doubt, has fear, has reasons why they hesitate, which is probably all of us at different times, this is a great book. This'll quiet that inner critic. I love what she says on the back. I just have to, she's such a great writer. We overthink things. We procrastinate. We hold ourselves to impossibly high standards. We fail to make time for what's most important to us. We doubt ourselves. We're afraid of saying no. We never let ourselves cross the finish line. Sometimes we don't even let ourselves cross the starting line. We all have the little voice in the back of our minds reminding us of the risks, the past failures, the potential humiliations, and the loads of fear that come along with chasing our biggest dreams. That little voice is Hilda, your personal inner saboteur. I think Hilda's named after somebody who wasn't nice to Coach Jennie at one time. Poor Hilda. So Hilda stops us in our tracks, stomps on our dreams, and keeps us from pursuing what we want in life. And the higher the stakes, the louder she gets. Clearly, Hilda must be stopped. That's where this book comes in, because even the most ambitious and badass humans can get in their own way and hold themselves back thanks to Hilda and her self-sabotage. Enough already. So that's Coach Jennie. And really, really nice, really well done book. Great book. All right. Hype Minotti says we love the music. Very nice. Gord says, like you're saying, Ross Brand, I'm really enjoying the diversity of topics you covered in the book. Yeah, it really is a lot more than live streaming, podcasting, video creation. We really go into all the subjects that are on the minds of people who are creators and entrepreneurs and working in the digital space. Anita Sonia is here. Welcome. Thank you for your contribution to the book. Congratulations on the new book, she says. Great to see you. Jenny Gold says, how exciting. Your book's taking off. Yeah, the book's doing really well, and I'm really excited about it. Let's see what we have. We have another one of our favorites, Joey Garrity, who I can't wait to see next week at Podfest, where she'll be speaking and doing her thing there. Being Your Own Superstar, How to Expand Your Love Capacity. Her first book was called The Red Carpet Guide to Visibility and Influence. She's a Hollywood insider, worked on some of the early digital projects in Hollywood, and has a great feel for what it takes to succeed in business and in life, and highly recommend this book. Much like Coach Jennie's book, it's a book you work on your inner game and you get your mindset right through these type of books. So congratulations to Joey. She recently launched her Joey G 113 media network and her Superstar Entrepreneur Women's media network, where she's got all different types of shows going on. She's on a podcast network, distributing her content that way. So 2023 is going to be, I think, a big year for Joey. And her second book is excellent, as was her first. All right, the next book I'm highlighting in the carousel isn't really the one that I want to talk about, but I don't have the one that I want to talk about in my hand. So I'll talk about this one first. This is called A World Gone Social, and it's Mark Babbitt's first book, and it's certainly really good. And Mark is such a terrific thought leader and just a great all-around guy. One of my favorite people I've met through the social world, the social universe. And he talks about how companies need to adapt to the new social landscape in this book. But the book that's really, the book of his that's really tremendous, and let me see, I don't think I have it in the carousel. Yeah, I do have it in the carousel. Look at that. It's called Good Comes First. And he wrote that with fellow 100 Predictions contributor S. Chris Edmonds. And they talk about what companies need to do in building the right culture, in building the right internal brand, and how they treat their employees, and the relationship with that to the bottom line. Really, really good stuff. Real business case for doing good and doing the right thing. And I love the book that Chris and Mark did, so wanted to mention that. A World Gone Social is good too. All right, the next book I call the fourth best book ever written on live streaming, because we have 1 to 3 right here. Sorry, I couldn't resist. This is a tremendous book on live streaming, and one of my favorite people, Jennifer Quinn. Leverage live streaming to build your brand, start, master, and monetize live video with insider tips and tricks. The great thing about this book is if you're starting out, it just gives you the whole game plan, and if you're advanced, you can benefit from this book too. Let's see. Switch up the music. This one's a little soft. So if you haven't commented, tell me, do you like the music? How does that flow? Can you hear me okay? Is it too loud, too soft, too intrusive? Sets a good mood for a show at 2 in the morning on the East Coast. All right, so I was talking about Jennie's book, and it's tremendous. I'm actually quoted on the back. I gave a blurb for this. I think that's what you call it. A review, testimonial. I said, Jennifer Quinn is among the most compelling content creators working in the live video space, a talented host and on-air personality. She has been at the forefront of the live stream movement, making her an ideal live streamer to learn from. And I also wrote a section in the book or two on audio, so for live streaming. So this is a great book. Really, really great book. Leverage live streaming to build your brand. Start, master, and monetize live video. The next book we have here is from B. Smith, who's been a regular in the predictions probably since 2017, 2018, maybe earlier, I don't know. She's terrific. Always promotes, always encourages other people. Her book's called Be Inspired. Practical Steps for Living a Life Full of Joy. I love that she mentions in her bio that she was featured on TBN, Fox, and NBC affiliates and Livestream Universe. Very cool, very cool. But this is a great book, very inspiring. B's just one of those people that she's overcome a lot, but boy, does she light up the room for other people, make other people feel great. She says, practical steps for living a life full of joy. Living a life full of joy is a choice. Life is full of people, places, things, and experiences, both good and bad. Be Inspired shares the journey of a once lonely, lost soul who finds fulfillment and joy in purpose through practicing simple application in all seasons of life. B. Smith. Her show's Be Inspired Talk. The next book I'm going to put up in the carousel, I do not have a physical version. I have a Kindle version. I'm afraid to leave Amazon Live. So what I will do is I will just talk about it. This is Mitch Jackson's book. It's called Web3, the Metaverse, and AI. It's written by Mitch Jackson and his son Garrett Jackson, along with their AI personal assistant, helper, Kai. And I quote this book in 100 Predictions because I really haven't dug into Web3 and the Metaverse as much as I probably should have by now. And so I really don't know what the heck they are. I just know it's important to know. AI, I've paid a lot more attention to, played around with. I have a better understanding, but I thought since Mitch has been involved in this, took his business into the Metaverse right away, and basically is living in that world, why the heck not, right? Why the heck not quote somebody who's on the cutting edge? And so in the introduction, I start off with Jennie Q's quote, which is in her chapter. She says, the ROI of learning and integrating Web3 strategies is that you will still be in business in 5 years. And then I quote from Mitch's book, Web3 is a new way of using the internet that's all about connecting people and companies in a more decentralized way. Instead of having just a few big companies control everything, one of the ideas about Web3 is to have lots of different people and organizations work together and share information. One way Web3 does this is through something called the blockchain, which is a kind of shared record-keeping system. It helps make sure everyone can trust the information they find online and that no one can cheat or change things without everyone else knowing. So, there are a lot of predictions that deal with, again, Web3 topics, AI, Metaverse. But Mitch's book, Mitch Jackson's book with Garrett Jackson and their AI personal assistant, Kai, is a really good introduction if you want to take a deeper dive into actually what it is and how it might work. All right, another person I'm looking forward to seeing, who's an author in his own right, as well as one of the great event organizers in the industry. I'm going to see him next week at his big event, Podfest, is Chris Kremitzos. And he wrote the book called Start Ugly. And as you can imagine, the motivating idea is you don't have to have everything perfect to get started, and you'll probably find out things that you need to adjust anyway. So if you're too busy trying to get perfect, you might not react in real time and adapt to the challenges that are out there and that you need to in order to keep your idea going strong. I think they call it a parable, maybe. Takes you through a story of how it all comes together. Really nice book. I got this at Podfest a few years ago. Start Ugly, A Timeless Tale about innovation and change by Chris Kremitzos. Let's talk about some other books. I just gotta slide over here for a second. All right, I'm back. Facebook marketing. The great Louise McDonald gave me this when we met at Web Summit in Portugal toward the end of 2019. It's still relevant today. Really takes you through how to market on Facebook with Facebook pages, Facebook groups, Facebook advertising. And a lot of images that help you kind of understand what Louise is talking about. If you need a visual demonstration, really great book. She's a great businesswoman, very successful at helping both individuals as a coach or an academy or course leader, and then also as a social digital agency working with companies and brands. And while I don't have the current version, she also puts out an annual planner. I have one from a couple of years ago that she was nice enough to send me. And so this keeps you on top of different ways you can create relevant content. Has all the different holidays and little days that aren't really holidays, where we name them after something or we give them some type of, let me pick one at random here. International Polar Bear Day. So if you need some content and it's International Polar Bear Day, you'll know that. But there's space in here to track how things are going, to plan your next month, see what worked, what didn't. And that's Social Media Planner and Guide by Louise McDonald. Kim Doyle also has a planner. I don't know whether she's selling that on Amazon or not, but I've taken a look at that, and it's really good as well. So a lot of people doing interesting stuff that's helping creators during this time. Another book I want to mention, he gave it to me in person when we were both at the Never Settle show, and it's Chris Strobe's 50 States, 100 Days, the book. All about his tour across the country, helping nonprofits, particularly focused on youth, as the first person to stream and snap, that's live stream and Snapchat, in all 50 states. And in each state, he has a chapter about each state where he served, helped the community in some place in each state, working with an organization and using live streaming and Snapchatting to tell their story, and then he tells his story of working with them in the book. There's Chris somewhere along his tour. So that's 50 States, 100 Days, the book by Chris Strub. The next book I want to talk about isn't really the book that I want to talk about. But I'll talk about this one first, because Brad Friedman sent it to me, and it's a nice book in its own right. It's kind of a quick... it's sort of devised around the idea of, like, you share short insights, almost like tweets. And Brad's book is called Brad Friedman on Digital Marketing, Doing Social Media Right When You Don't Have the Time and Don't Want to Get in Trouble. It's called an actionable business journal, a think aha book. And Brad runs the Friedman Group. He's the host of the Digital Slice podcast. And he's a really nice guy. And I wanted to really talk about his other book, because it's his other book that I think probably of more interest to people who are watching the show. And Sonia says the music's too loud and it's hard. Thank you. I've been hoping somebody would tell me how music is. It's the first time I've really used music while doing this. So let me turn this down a little bit. Let me know if that's better. So as I was saying, the book that I really would like to talk about for Brad is The Small Business Owner's Guide to Inbound Marketing, because that's, I think, of a lot of interest to people who are reading 100 predictions, who contribute to 100 predictions, who are likely to be watching my live streams. Wasn't able to get it into the carousel because through the search in the carousel, it didn't come up. I tried a variety of different ways to get it to come up, but check that out. That's Brad's major work, I would call it, as far as his published books, and it's quite a good one. So I think we covered a lot of the books from people. I mean, there's so many authors in 100 Predictions, and a lot of them I have ebooks from, and a lot of them. Actually, I'm just gonna open my Kindle, my online Kindle library. See what we have here. Of course, we talk about Dale Roberts. Amazon keywords for books. He's got an entire Amazon self-publishing series. Anything he does related to self-publishing is worth reading. We have Mitch Jackson's first book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media. We have another book from Dale called Secrets of the Perma-Free Book. Profit from Your Podcast by Dave Jackson. Proven strategies to turn listeners into a livelihood. I had a great time interviewing Dave Jackson a couple of years ago when that book came out, and hearing his stories about how podcasting has really given him a very interesting career. I imagine there are others, but that's what I have coming up right now in the online portal. You have Brian Kramer is one of the contributors to the book. He's the father of the H2H, human to human movement. Wrote Shareology. I think his other book was called Human to Human, maybe? Regardless, Brian's a real pioneer in the whole digital marketing space, and his books are really noteworthy. like I said, a lot of people have books. Eddie Garrison's got several books that he's published. Diana Gladney, great YouTuber, she's working on a book that's coming out soon. Take a look. Valerie Morris has a book, definitely worth checking out. Yeah, I mean, I could be here all day talking about everybody that's got a book that's in the predictions. But so that's the deal for today. 100 live streaming and digital media predictions. If you haven't gotten a copy, there's a pretty good special price going on in the ebook. Of course, the paperback's got the graphics, the images as well, and that's available too. And I want to thank you all for hanging out. And this has been fun. And it's been a long week, but it's been really a great week with the book launch. I'm going to Podfest next week. There's an author event at Podfest I'll be taking part in, and then that'll be on Thursday afternoon, 3:15, and then at 4:30 I'm hosting a meetup, because there'll be so many contributors, not only to this book but the other two books as well, that'll be there. So I hope to get everybody together as much as possible for, just kind of network, hang out, meet and greet, chat, take some photos. It'll be after that author event, maybe a half an hour, like 4:30 to 5 on Thursday at Podfest. And then late morning on Friday, I'm on the Amazon Live panel with Jim Fuhs and Chris Stone of Dealcasters, who wrote the foreword to the book, and Jeff C. We're talking about how to turn your podcast into an Amazon Live show. So that's what's coming up next week. For the book's done really well. It hit #1 bestseller in the U.S. in, I think, 18 categories. It hit #1 in 3 or 4 categories in Canada and a couple of categories in the UK. We didn't get Germany, Netherlands, and Australia like last time, although honestly I haven't checked today. I'm kind of satisfied that it just did really well, and we've gotten some great reviews, and always appreciate when people give our honest feedback about how they found the book. So thanks for hanging out late at night with this book launch live stream. It took a while to go live. The book just came in tonight, and I'm thrilled. KDP did a nice job printing it, and of course Danielle Camerlinga is the talented book cover artist who put it together. And of course, thanks to Chris and Jim from Dealcasters for writing the foreword. Thanks to Dale Roberts, who provided the quote on the front cover, and all the people who've written reviews, who've contributed, who've read it, who've told others about it, who've made social posts. It's been great. I haven't actually had a chance to reply or respond or amplify everybody's post, because we got 103 people who contributed to this book, and so many of them have been really awesome about promoting it. So thank you again, and we will talk to you again soon on another episode of Livestream Deals. Take care, everybody.